Futures in Practice. Living Numbers. Book 3. Written and narrated by Santiago Machain. Chapter 1. Conservation Basics, Preventing Declines and Extinction. The urgency and the promise of conservation. Conservation begins with a human impulse to keep what matters alive. Behind every headline about a shrinking species range or a bleached reef lies a deeper question about how we, as societies and as individuals, decide to act when faced with loss that is both biological and cultural. Although extinction is a natural process, the current rate at which species are declining and disappearing far exceeds historical background levels. That acceleration is not an abstract metric. It is a signal that the relationships anchoring ecosystems, and the communities that depend on them, are under strain. Yet conservation is not only triage. It is also an endeavor defined by hope, method, and the everyday work of preventing declines long before a crisis point. This chapter outlines the foundations. Why species decline, how extinctions unfold, which tools and institutions can slow and reverse those trends, and how decisions are made under uncertainty. Throughout, the emphasis stays on practical, actionable approaches that link science with people's lived realities. What does it mean to prevent declines? To prevent declines is to keep populations healthy enough that they can withstand normal environmental fluctuations and human pressures without beginning a downward spiral. Practically, this means ensuring adequate numbers of individuals, preserving genetic diversity, safeguarding habitats, and maintaining the ecological interactions, pollination, predation, seed dispersal, nutrient cycling, that allow species to persist. Prevention is often quieter than dramatic rescue, yet it is more efficient and less costly, materially and ethically. It involves steady monitoring, early detection, and proactive management grounded in local context. When a population is stable or increasing, managers have room to adjust, learn, and adapt. When a population is in freefall, options narrow, conflicts sharpen, and the probability of irreversible loss rises. Preventing declines also entails addressing human drivers before they become pressures that managers can no longer control. Conservation is frequently described as a crisis discipline because timing matters. Delays reduce options. Nevertheless, the field has matured into a comprehensive practice that aligns ecology with governance, economics, and culture. In other words, preventing declines means aligning incentives, rules, and norms so that keeping nature intact is the path of least resistance. Why species decline? The core drivers. Species rarely decline for a single reason. More often, multiple stressors interact, amplifying one another in ways that are difficult to predict. Nonetheless, several drivers recur across geographies and taxa, and understanding them is the first step toward effective prevention. Habitat loss and fragmentation remain the most pervasive threats. When forests are cleared, grasslands plowed, or wetlands drained, animals and plants lose the spaces that meet their needs. Fragmentation compounds the problem by isolating what remains into smaller patches. Isolated populations face elevated risks. Fewer mates, reduced gene flow, and greater vulnerability to localized disturbances. Edges created by fragmentation also change microclimates, alter predator-prey dynamics, and facilitate invasive species, further eroding resilience. Overexploitation, hunting, fishing, logging, and plant harvesting beyond sustainable levels, directly removes individuals faster than populations can replace them. Even when harvest pressure eases, altered demographics and disrupted social structures can delay recovery. Moreover, the selective removal of large or reproductive individuals can shift life histories in ways that diminish population growth. Invasive species pose an insidious challenge by outcompeting, preying upon, or hybridizing with native species, often in ecosystems that evolved without those novel pressures. The effects can cascade. A new predator can suppress a native herbivore, which
Sample complete. Ready to continue?